To other trending news, Ontario is having quite the week with several topics creating buzz online. Premier Doug Ford told the Auditor General to, quote, stay in her lane yesterday. Plus more greenbelt drama and Bill 124 backlash. Kelly Botello joins us now. Kelly, too many viral moments this week in this province.
You're absolutely right, Nicole, but not for the best reasons. We all know that the Premier loves a fiery quote, but some of this drama has his critics firing back.
Let's start off with this one.
The Auditor General has to stay in her lane.
In a news conference yesterday, Premier Doug Ford didn't hold back his displeasure with Ontario's Auditor General, Bonnie Lysyk, specifically with the fact that she hired undercover operatives to test money laundering protections at casinos.
You can't all of a sudden deputize yourself and think you're the Secret Service going around doing sting operations that failed, by the way, and they were caught. Now these poor folks that they hired are now banned from the casinos. So she needs to stay in her lane, focus on value for money, and I think she's had a problem doing that over the last little while.
Lysyk said she hired mystery shoppers who were able to obtain casino checks in a way that confirmed they could launder money. But she said they ended up getting caught by security. We reached out to her today for reaction to Ford telling her to stay in her lane, and representatives told us that her report stands as is and there's nothing to add. The next hot topic, Ontario's greenbelt. This time, Canada's Environment Minister got a taste of the Premier's irritation.
When I encourage the federal minister to do his research.
At a news conference this morning, the Premier was asked about Minister Stephen Guilbeault's recent comments. Guilbeault warned that Ottawa would not provide disaster compensation where a province deliberately allows housing to be built in areas prone to flooding, referring to the greenbelt.
It's the responsibility of any builder, no matter where we build, to make sure that they protect any floodplains. And I just wish you'd do a little more research on that, and maybe I'll call them and inform them what's going on.
Opening up the Greenbelt for development doesn't sit right with Green Party leader Mike Schreiner.
Well, it's simply a boneheaded move because the government's own housing affordability task force clearly stated that we do not need to open the Greenbelt for development in order to address the housing affordability crisis in Ontario. I'm just deeply concerned that the Ford government has decimated the ability of conservation authorities to protect us from flooding.
To add to the buzz, a Globe and Mail report has linked developers who bought land in the Greenbelt to the Ford government, raising questions as to whether the Ford government may have tipped off their friends.
Well, this is exactly why I put forward a request to the Integrity Commissioner to ask him to investigate whether the Premier or the Minister of Housing have contravened the Members' Integrity Act. A member of the legislature cannot provide insider information that would further the private interests of another individual.
And then there was Bill 124 this week. Nurses across the province rejoiced as the bill was struck down by a judge who said the legislation was unconstitutional as it infringes on rights to freedom of association and collective bargaining. The bill capped wage increases at 1% per year, but Ford said he's going to appeal the ruling.
Yes, we're going to appeal. I can say it was a very interesting verdict, to say the least.
Perhaps a short-lived victory for nurses, but only time will tell.
So quite the weekly roundup in Ontario. All of these stories trending online. There's never a dull moment, Nicole.